Why, hello my friends, I'm back with another video about Skylanders news. And something absolutely incredible has happened. More light shines upon the Skylander community today as more news pops up relating to the acquisition of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, that whole thing. It turns out that the Activision CEO, Bobby Kotick, said he'd like to see Microsoft bring back some currently retired series once the acquisition's all done and over with. And of course, one of the series he would be referring to is Skylanders, or else I wouldn't be making this video. But this is quite something incredible to be happening. And, Skylanders news for a while has been very hard to come by, but this deal seems to actually be very good for the franchise. I wouldn't get your hopes up too much yet, but this Video Games Chronicle.com article should give us a little more information. Speaking to VentureBeat, Kotick cited Guitar Hero and Skylanders as two franchises that were extremely popular for Activision in the past, but were eventually shelved for numerous reasons. One of the reasons was a need for a separate manufacturing team, something that Kotick says he wasn't prepared for, but he feels that Microsoft would actually be well equipped for. This already gives us a ton of information. So perhaps there's a chance that even though Activision is a giant in the world of video gaming, maybe they just couldn't pull off bringing back Skylanders with all the toys to life baggage that it has with it. And maybe he's hoping that Microsoft, considering it's a much larger and much more stable company, not saying that Activision wasn't stable, because it definitely was. But Microsoft has so much more assets that could be put towards this as long as they give it a chance. Let's continue. Xbox CEO Phil Spencer and I started riffing about things for the future, Kotick said. I'll give you 3 things that are really compelling. I wanted to make a new Guitar Hero for a while, but I don't want to add teams and do the manufacturing and supply chain QA for manufacturing, and the chip shortages are enormous. We didn't really have the ability to do that. I had a really cool vision for what the next Guitar Hero would be, and I realized we don't have the resources to do that. Oh, and Skylanders 2. One of the disappointments of my career is that other people came in and out with crappy alternatives. They dumped all these crappy alternatives in the market, and it basically destroyed the market for what was a cool future opportunity. If you look at Skylanders with its hardware and manufacturing supply chain, the same kinds of reasons that we can't do that, but Microsoft can. Once again, this gives us a ton of information. As was previously stated, it might seem that Activision just didn't have the proper assets to bring back Skylanders, or to an extent Guitar Hero as well. But, as I already said, Microsoft is a much more stable company, and could probably pull it off. And I think he was referring about the crappy alternatives. I think he was referring to other Toys to Life series that started to help with the oversaturation of the market. But I think Skylanders still had a pretty big hand in the oversaturation of the Toys to Life market. And then the rest of it just talks about how that there's a ton of potential in both of these series because, they raked in a ton of cash for Activision. Anyway, let's talk about my thoughts on this. I, personally, am just ecstatic to see good news about Skylanders. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I really would not get your hopes up about this. But that doesn't mean you can't be happy. This is still great news. And while this isn't something set in stone, hopefully Microsoft's willingness to bring back Skylanders might affect Microsoft's decision. And after the whole acquisition technicality type stuff is done with and the merge is fully set in stone, we might be able to see something. Now we just sit tight and wait. Don't get your hopes up too much, but this is definitely some great stuff and absolutely incredible news for Skylanders. Well, this has been not daily because I have a feeling that I'm gonna run out of news at some point, but whenever I feel like it, Skylanders news. Goodbye.